Hello and welcome to Tome of Uselessness. I'm Devon.
I'm Dan.
And today we have a very, very special episode for you where we're going to discuss the incredibly high art, little known film. Jurassic World Dominion.
Man, I love that John Williams tune. It's so good.
Yeah, it is good. You know, I sing it to Meatball almost every day.
Nice.
I'm like, meatball, meatball, meatball.
Yeah, just, that gives you that sense of wonder and excitement and, what's about to happen?
Yeah, he
looks
at me like I'm crazy and then walks away.
Yeah. But unfortunately, this time it was used for evil or no good, I assume.
Yeah. You haven't seen this movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie. I've watched the pitch meeting, which we watched together, which was hilarious. And that's my experience so far with this movie.
So I have watched this movie. You also haven't watched Jurassic World 2, There's Dinosaurs in a Mansion?
No, I was out after Jurassic World 1.
Okay, so to give everyone a quick recap on all their favorite characters. Just kidding. No.
Pause for laughter.
At the end of Jurassic, what was the second one called? Jurassic World Rebellion?
This one's called Dominion, right?
Yeah, Dominion.
Oh my gosh.
Jurassic World.
I think it was just called Jurassic World 2.
No, it must have had a
It had a title.
Hang on, I'm going to look it up real fast because
All right.
It's very important that we get all these things correct. Do you like how I was texting you how I was going to do notes and then I didn't even write down the name of the second stupid movie?
Well, we're not talking about that one. I mean, the only recurring characters is Owen and Claire and Clone Girl, right?
Oh, just
and
wait.
B.D. Wong, I guess, sorry.
It was called Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Right, because the island gets volcanoed.
Yeah. Which is really what they should do with anybody involved in this movie. It's just stick them on an island with a volcano. That's very mean of me. I'm sorry to the best boy who worked on this.
Yeah, he's just I'm just here moving some crates around.
I just got coffee for people. I'm no, death.
On the island.
Dinosaur Island, there's a volcano.
Volcano.
Okay, let's focus up, Devon. This movie was so stupid that I think it dropped my IQ by 300 points. So I'm in the negatives now.
I think everyone would be.
Okay, so it had a budget. This movie has a budget of $185 million, and it's so far made $493.2 million worldwide. It's set to make over 500,000 or 500 million because there is no God.
Oh, I'm surprised it hasn't almost crossed $1 billion mark by now.
Well, I Googled that 10 minutes ago, so maybe it has now.
No, you're probably correct.
The second movie was Fallen. We've done an episode on it, Fallen Kingdom, I believe. Yeah. And we ended with an interesting setup for the next movie. Because 50 dinosaurs were brought to a mansion in the attempts to auction them off to billionaires for $8 million each, which still just makes me so mad that they just lowballed the price of these dinosaurs. But in the last 5 minutes of that stupid movie, the clone girl presses a big red button and they all get released into the wild.
Yeah, and just thinking about that real quick, sorry, as well, because you're saying they were being auctioned off. And if I recall correctly, they were being auctioned off to other companies and arms dealers and whatever, right? But
yeah.
Another company, if they tried to buy it and then use that technology in some way, they'd probably get slapped with lawsuits because that's intellectual property.
This movie is not science fiction. It's this is a fantasy franchise now.
Yeah, because I mean, to me, like you just mentioned, like the premise is flawed.
Yeah, everything about it is flawed. They shouldn't
Right.
have. These movies should not exist.
Because, like I said to you immediately when they were like, when you told me that they're like, yeah, it's gonna be dinosaurs everywhere, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. There wasn't that many of them, and humans are really good at killing things.
Yeah. So we opened Jurassic World Dominion with like a fake YouTube documentary, like a Now This type documentary that's a couple minutes long.
Mhm.
And honestly, it was the best part of the movie. They really nailed the way a YouTube video looks and the pacing of it.
I
But
mean,
after that, everything goes downhill. But in this like little exposition video that we start with, we find out that those 50 dinosaurs that were in one house in America have spread out over the entire globe. And it also looks like there's way more dinosaurs than could ever fit into a mansion.
right, they're like plague rats now.
Yeah, exactly. They're like everywhere. And it's worth noting that a lot of them or that some of the dinosaurs spend a significant time in this movie in a very snowy climate, which I don't know. I thought it was a lot hotter when dinosaurs were on the planet. Wasn't it, Dan?
I would imagine.
Used to
Yes.
snow?
I don't think there was snow. Snow was partially what killed them.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, they're fine with it now. I think that the best way, because there's a lot going on in this movie and none of it is interesting. So
You sat for 2 hours in a theater and you're like, none of that was interesting.
yeah.
Awesome.
It was air conditioned though, and it was a very hot day when I went.
Yeah.
So I think maybe what I will do is instead of trying to go through the events chronologically through the movie, I think what I'll do is I'm going to go character group by character group because there are kind of two storylines going on in it. And that makes more sense to me.
For sure.
All right. Do you want to start with the oldies or the newbies?
Whichever one you want to go for, Devon.
Let's start with the Jurassic Park alum.
Okay, yeah. They're all back.
They're all back for some reason. I guess money is nice.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Money.
We are introduced to a field with two children. And all of a sudden, a huge swarm of locusts that are like the size of, I think, a small cat. They're pretty big.
Yeah, that sounds pretty big for a locust.
Yeah, they swarm the children, and the children have to run and hide in this barn. And one of them gets through a hole in the door in the barn, and they catch it in a bucket. And it's a very tense scene that's resolved 30 seconds later. The kids are fine.
Well, I mean, locusts wouldn't usually eat people.
Yeah, but they're very scary. Like they're cat-sized.
No, I'm not denying that part, but I'm just saying it's like...
And a lot of them were just flying at the door of the barn for some reason, like they were trying to get these kids.
Like they're zombies trying to break in.
Yeah, they're like want those kids' brains. The mother or the owner of the farm lady who is in charge of things, I can't remember if she was their mom or not. She calls Ellie Settler from Jurassic World or Jurassic Park, played by Laura Dern.
Mm-hmm.
Laura Dern comes. She's like, "What? You have a sample or live one? That's awesome. I'm a scientist. I do science."
She is indeed a scientist.
I know. And then they talk a bit. The lady in charge lady, is like, "Look, they ate all of my crops." And Laura Dern's like, "Oh no." And she's like, "How come those crops aren't eaten?" And lady's like, "Those crops are from biosyn. None of the biosyn crops get eaten by locusts. The next logical step for Laura Dern to do is to go find Alan Grant, played by Sam Neill, who's...
You're right. It's the next logical step.
Yeah. I mean, what would you do in that situation, Dan?
I'd definitely call my paleontologist friend.
Yeah. So she shows up at the same dig that he's been working at since Jurassic Park. And he's down teaching some students, and he has this really great line, which I'm paraphrasing, but this is very close to the line that a screenwriter had written for a movie that was going to have a wide release, where he's like, people always ask me, why do we dig up dinosaur bones? And the answer is because we're paleontologists, and paleontology is science.
I like science.
Science, num num num. So he goes to his tent, which is very messy, where Laura Dern is, or Ellie, whatever you want to call her.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in a million billion years. How's your kids? And she's like, my kids are good. He's like, how's your husband? And she's like, we divorced. Sad face. And he's like, oh, that's too bad. As he's like hiding a picture of them from like 30 years ago.
Right.
So that she can't see it, that he's still in love with her, even though he clearly hasn't spoken to her in like at least a decade. She's like, hey, or no, first he's like, you didn't just come here to catch up, did you? And she's like, no, Biosyn is making giant locusts. Locust is the bug, lotus is the flower, correct?
Yeah.
They're making giant locusts. What's that?
Oh, I assume it's loci for plural, but I don't know if it's true.
Loci.
Or is it locuses? I don't know. Anyway.
Who cares?
Making big bugs.
They're making big bugs that only eat the seeds that are not produced by Biosyn. They're trying to control the world's food supply. Actually, what she specifically says is they're trying to control the food of our food.
The food of our food?
Yeah, because you feed cows grain.
Right.
Or whatever.
Okay.
Who cares?
Sure. No, but yeah, that makes sense. Some crop is food for other food. I gotcha.
Yeah. And she's like, you have to break into Biosyn with me, and we're going to go get a sample, but I need you to be a witness, and I couldn't think of anybody else. And then I'll go to the press, and everything will be good. And he's like, but why me? And she's like, because you're a respected scientist. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he's like, but how are we going to get into Biosyn? And she's like, I've got that all worked out. And she pulls out a book. And guess who's on the cover of the book, Dan?
I assume it's Jeff Goldblum.
It's Jeff Goldblum. And she's like, Ian Malcolm, a very good friend from 30 years ago, happens to work at Biosyn, and he's going to get us into the building. And he's like, oh, no, not that asshole. So they head off to like a airbase, something like that. Who cares?
Yeah.
Where a bunch of dinosaurs are being transported to a secret island owned by Biosyn because they have a dinosaur wildlife collective there. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, did they ever mention, sorry to break in here, did they ever mention what happened to the island? Oh, no, yeah, it got blown up. Never mind. But what about the other islands? There was 2 islands, though.
Who knows?
Okay. Never mind.
You know what? They might have mentioned it, and they might have not, but I didn't care enough to notice.
Right. Or I just meant, like, did they mention InGen in some way to be like, what happened to InGen was blah?
No.
Okay.
So there's a very specific dinosaur that's there that we're gonna circle back to. We'll call him Small Cute Dinosaur.
Nice.
And Laura Dern's like, even though there's like a fucking billion dinosaurs around, she's like, look at this little guy. And then she like gets real in his face and she's all like, boop, 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 boop. And he's like, and they become best friends and then we never hear from him again.
No, you said you were going to circle back.
Well, I'm going to circle back in the next timeline.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Yeah, because he is in that timeline too.
Okay.
They get on a plane and they meet a guy whose name I think is Ramsey, because I remember thinking it was like Chef Ramsay. But I could be wrong. And he's like a cool guy that dresses nice. And he gets on the plane with them and he's like, we have island and we put lots of deer on it for the apex predators to hunt. But he's like, everything else is in all the other plant species and animals are indigenous to this island. So we're not fucking up the environment, except for all these dinosaurs that we've put in here for some reason.
Everything's the same it should be, except for these dinosaurs.
Except for dinosaurs.
Nice.
And then there's like a big flashing green light or a button or something, and Alan Grant is like, what's that? And he's like, oh, that's the special Skynet thing. It's called something else and I can't remember what it is. But it's essentially an invisible net that keeps all of the pterodactyls in and stops them from attacking planes.
Right.
So they land. It's very fancy in this area. It's very like what you imagine like Google headquarters would look like if Google headquarters was on an island in the mountains.
Nice. No, my question, sorry. So like this is a Biosyn island or mountains facility, sorry. But like, is this Ramsey guy, I guess, the ones getting them in? Like, how are they getting like in? Like, do they have special passes? Are they being invited? Yeah. Like they just show up and they're just like, we're here now. And then everyone's like, cool.
No. Ian Malcolm invited them and got special passes. And also everybody else is just really happy that they'll be there because they are renowned scientists that everybody knows.
Yeah, but wouldn't they also know like that Alan Grant like wrote a book and Ian Malcolm, like they blew the whistle on the dinosaur island, so like they're not, you know, the type to be like they're goody two shoes, you know, they're gonna fight for the justice.
Well, I have no answer to that.
Okay, sorry. That's something that the screenwriter didn't even read like or watch the other movies and find that out.
Yeah, exactly. This whole script is not like, let's make this movie like make sense in the continuity of Jurassic canon.
Right.
It's like, wouldn't it be cool if?
Okay, sorry. I'll stop with my logic questions. But they get to the facility and it's Paul.
Anything you come up with is a wizard did it.
Please, it's not nanotech, I guess.
The nanotech wizards did
it. Yeah.
It's like, okay, so they land in Google headquarters.
Yeah.
And the billionaire who owns Biosyn comes out, and he's kind of like what every billionaire in a movie is now.
Yeah.
Quirky. He's kind of like that. Yeah. He's just like generic white billionaire guy. and he's like, let's get a picture. And then he kind of toddles off. And then they go to see Malcolm, Ian. I was going to call him Malcolm Reynolds. I'm like, wouldn't that be a fun crossover?
Ian Malcolm, you are correct, though. Yeah.
Then the Firefly shows up. Pew, 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 pew. Kills all the dinosaurs. And they ride off into space together.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Also, it turns out Luke and Leia weren't brother and sister, and they can finally be together. Okay, so they go to see Ian Malcolm is giving like a weird lecture that seems like it's in support of Biosyn. where he just sounds like any like alpha male with a podcast. Basically what he's spewing at that point.
Yeah, like why is he working at Biosyn? Like he's like
chaotician. So like in movie, his basic answer is that he has kids and he wants to send them to college.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but it might be that he knew that they were doing weird stuff, and so he showed up to like be the inside man whistleblower, but that's never explicitly stated.
Right.
Instead, he's just like, I'm here to provide legitimacy, and also they bought me a car. Boo, boo, boo.
Sweet.
Okay, so they watch his lecture, then they go get a coffee, and he's all acting like he's like, Biosyn is the greatest place in the world. But while the steamer for the cappuccinos is going, and while Alan Grant is arguing with the barista over different kinds of milk, because he's a cranky old man.
Sure.
Ian Malcolm leans in and whispers in Lauren Dern's ear that there's all the things are on the 6th floor, and then he slips in a key, like a card key pass thing, and he's like, go with God. And then he leaves. I'm very bad at paraphrasing today.
That sounds like exact dialogue.
It might as well be. The dialogue in this movie is very stupid. Why don't they hire me? I would love to see Jeff Goldblum say go with God. Mademoiselle Laura Dern explains what happened to Alan Grant, and then their tour guide Ramsey is like, hey, you guys have half an hour before we have to take the plane back. So why don't you guys just like look around on your own?
Sorry.
You can meet me at Secret Underground Train Station 3 in 30 minutes. I'll see you there. So they sneak down to level 6, and they find a room that's just full of locusts hanging out in very short, like, it's really strange because I don't know what science labs look like, but it's like one of those all glass rooms that look so super futuristic. And then it's just shelves of like wheat that's like 30 centimeters high, and then weird buzzing noises. And they're like, oh, this is obviously where the locusts are. And they go in, they suit up, they go in. Laura Dern's like, you have to grab it, and I'll put a needle in it, I guess, to get their DNA, I think.
Yeah, like you said, they were there for the sample.
Yeah, she'll get the sample. He's going to grab it. They grab it. She's like, be careful. They swarm really easily. And he's like, okay. Gets a sample. And then as they go to put it back, I think an alarm goes off or something, but all of the locusts start swarming. They wake up from their naps, and they start swarming around a room that is like the size of my little office that I podcast from.
Sure.
They get to the like in-between door, and a bunch of like locusts are there with them, and there's like a smoke is spraying at them, but I'm not really sure what it does. And they're kind of trapped, and then they think that they're gonna die, I guess, and they're like freaking out. And then a little girl who is from Fallen Kingdom named Maisie shows up and key cards them out. And I will tell you her story in the next batch of stories.
Yeah.
But anyways, she frees them.
But also, again, why would they fear the locusts? Like, it would be annoying because they're hitting them or whatever, because like you said, they're the size of a cat, but they're not going to eat them or anything.
Well, they're loud?
Well, yeah. But like, they're a loud flying bug, I got you, but they're not going to eat them.
Yeah.
Here's my problem with this plot, like you said, and it's like, okay, fine, Biosyn plot, but like, that's not a dinosaur plot. You're here to see a dinosaur plot.
No, Dan. Why would you want that in a Jurassic World movie?
Yeah, like, and I get the other timeline will have some dinosaurs, but shouldn't both be involved in a dinosaur plot?
Well, let me get to it. So they get to the underground secret train.
Yeah.
Ramsey's there. He's like, hey, I know that you guys were sneaking in here to get a sample, and I helped Ian Malcolm coordinate it. And they're like, okay, cool, because we also found this little girl. And he's like, okay, cool, get on this train and get out of here before anyone catches you.
We also found this little girl.
Around this point, the billionaire figures out that something is wrong. I'm pretty sure it's around this point. And so he shuts down the train. And he also lights all of the locusts on fire. And then opens up their skylight so they can all fly out of there. Flaming locusts.
Yeah. Like, but why?
I think he was trying to burn the evidence.
Sure, but like, wouldn't you then want that to just ashify and burn in your like secret lab? I assume you'll have like halon fire systems, and you can put it out, and then the locusts are burned. When you let them out, they're flying flaming bugs.
Yeah, so I thought about this too. There might have been another like lady scientist who pushed the button to like let them out of the sunroof.
Right.
But I can't remember exactly because there was, at this point in the movie, 2 10-year-old boys had sat directly behind me, and they were on their phone watching YouTube and talking very loudly. And I was a little distracted.
Fair enough.
Eventually I moved. You know what the best part, I've already told you this off mic, but I'm going to let the people know.
Yeah.
They were talking over where their parents were, and their dad was like, if you're going to talk, move somewhere else, instead of being an actual parent and just telling them to shut the fuck up.
Well, and like I think I said as well, like it's clearly an indictment to the movie that it wasn't exciting enough to hold attention of these 2 10-year-olds.
Yeah. I should have gone on YouTube too.
Yeah.
While the flaming locusts are getting released, the train stops, and they're in the amber mines where they originally found the amber for the first dinosaur movie. But again, that doesn't make sense because this is a different part of the world. But whatever, they're in the amber mines.
Yeah, as I say, they were in South America, if I recall.
Yeah, not regular America.
Yeah.
Although this could be in South America too, and I just wasn't paying attention. So we'll never know.
Right. There's no way to find out.
No way to find out. So they go through the mines, and then there's dinosaurs, and they get chased by the dinosaurs, and it's really dark and hard to see anything, but there's a lot of screaming.
Like carnivorous dinosaurs?
Not sure. They're the ones that look like turtles with a sail on their back. You know which ones I mean, right?
No.
Like turtles, but they have like a sailing ship sail on their back. That's kind of spiny.
Are you describing something from a Monsters Manual, Devon?
No. I gotta look it up later.
Okay.
Turtles with sail dinosaur.
But anyway, I was just curious because why are dinosaurs in the mine is what I'm saying.
Because there's dinosaurs everywhere, Dan.
Right, okay, right. They were plague rats. My bad.
Yeah. Okay, so they go through the dinosaur mine and they get out eventually. We're going to pause this and circle back to Owen and Claire because everybody wants to know what Owen and Claire are doing, right?
Definitely.
Okay, so the movie opens with Claire. She is breaking into an illegal dinosaur breeding facility with her friends Asian lady and black guy. They don't have names in the movie, so.
Sorry. Just why is it an illegal dinosaur facility? I thought they were out there roaming the world.
Because some people want to see the world burn, Dan.
No, but that's what I'm saying is are there laws on the books being like you can't breed dinosaurs?
I guess so, but they don't really get into like policy in this movie too much.
Okay. Because again,
movie I want to watch the dinosaur lobbyists.
Yeah.
In Washington.
Because again, if we wanted to stop them, we could easily do so.
Yeah, with guns.
With a rifle.
Okay, so they break in. They're trying to get some like photograph or video evidence so that they can shut this illegal dinosaur breeding place down. But Claire is an over-emotional woman, and she sees the cute baby dinosaur that Laura Dern became best friends with.
Oh, no.
And he's in a separate cage, and they're like, well, he's quarantined, so he obviously needs saving.
Wait, what?
Yeah. He's in a cage separate from all the other dinosaurs. And instead of being like, oh, I wonder if he has a disease.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, he might have, like, dinosaur AIDS or something.
Yeah. Or, like, maybe he's really aggressive. Would be another reason for him to be in a separate cage. But they're like, no, we're going to save this dinosaur. They save him by putting him in the back of a van, and there's a stupid car chase scene, but they get away.
Nice.
And then her nameless companions are like, hey, we can't do this anymore. We're getting too old for this shit. And the guy's like, I'm going to take a job with, like, dinosaur FBI.
I was going to say Biosyn, of course.
No, he's working for, like, a government agency that specifically deals with dinosaurs.
Right.
It's the dinosaur FBI. It's the FDI. Oh, wait. The DBI, the Dinosaur Bureau of Investigation.
Nice.
His partner is a raptor.
Well, obviously.
Then she goes home, and we find out that her and Owen are still together, and they're taking care of Maisie, and they live in a cabin in the middle of the woods. And then we also see that Blue is still hanging around. We also get an introduction to Owen, who is a dinosaur cowboy, and he rides horses to wrangle dinosaurs so that they can send them, I think, to the Biosyn dinosaur facility. But I'm not totally sure. They might just be herding dinosaurs for fun. Who knows?
Yeah, just a hobby.
Yeah, and not hurting, but herding.
Yeah.
Blue, the raptor, lives in the woods behind their house. And we get a stupid, prolonged segment where we have to see what Blue's daily life is. And then we find out that Blue has had a baby raptor. Which apparently she was able to just do by herself. She didn't need a boy raptor to help her out with that. Because of lizard DNA, I think.
Yeah.
Anyways, we find out that she is a baby raptor. Maisie names it Beta. Maisie also fights with her adopted parents, Owen and Claire, a bunch. And then poachers show up, and they steal both Beta and Maisie. They kidnap them.
Yeah, I would say poachers grabbing a dinosaur makes perfect sense. Grabbing a little girl, no sense, but sure.
No, because they know she's a clone baby.
Right.
And they're like, we need this clone baby for science. So Claire and Owen go to the guy that works for the dinosaur FBI, and he's like, I can't tell you anything, but they're in Malta for a big dinosaur money exchange. So they head to Malta. I know this, like, I feel bad because I know this movie probably doesn't seem stupid to everybody, but it, but I hated it. Okay, they go to Malta.
Yeah.
There's a crazy, like, underground, illegal black market of dinosaurs where you can do dinosaur fighting, like dog fighting, or buy dinosaurs. And there's this lady who looks cool in a white shirt who trains raptors to attack with a laser pointer. And she's in the movie for 5 minutes and never mentioned again. But basically, through a series of misadventures, a pilot sees Maisie getting put onto a plane and Beta getting put onto a different plane, but she doesn't say anything because they're paying her a lot of money. But then she finds Claire in the black market dinosaur place, finds out that it's her daughter, Maisie, her adopted daughter. There's a bunch of action scenes, but ultimately it doesn't matter because Claire and Owen get on the plane with Pilot Lady and fly to the Biosyn Island.
Nice. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. There's like an in-town raptor chase scene where like 2 raptors are chasing Chris Pratt on a motorcycle and one of them's chasing Claire. And there's a lot of property destruction. They're like running in and out of people's apartments and just destroying those people's lives. Not giving a shit at all.
Bummer.
Yeah.
When they go with Pilot Lady, are they following Beta or Maisie?
Oh no, because she does dinosaur drops all the time, so she knows how to get to Biosyn.
Okay.
Island.
But are they both? I thought you said they were being put on separate planes.
Yeah, because they're too valuable to be on the same plane together.
Oh, but they're going to the same destination.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I should have explained that better, but...
No, that's...
My brain has been replaced with cottage cheese.
It's been replaced with a dinosaur raptor attacks.
Yeah. So as they're approaching the island, billionaire guy finds out, and he turns off Skynet so that the pterodactyls will attack the plane. They're not pterodactyls or something else, but I can't remember what they were.
Sure.
There's only one ejectable seat with a parachute, so Claire gets ejected into the sky where all the pterodactyls are, and Pilot and Chris Pratt crash the plane into an icy lake. Claire ends up in a tree, and really weird-looking dinosaur comes by. That's an apex predator, because there's so many apex predators. He comes by and sees a deer and just fucking bats the deer off screen, killing it immediately, but doesn't eat it. He was just killing it for fun. She's caught in a chair, hanging from a tree, and he doesn't seem to notice her, but she still takes herself out of her seatbelt and falls to the ground, which of course attracts this apex predator's attention. So what she does is just crawls along the ground, and he kind of follows her, but doesn't really do anything. And then she goes into the water, where she swims with her head above the water for a bit, and then she goes underwater, and then the apex predator goes right above where she's underwater and screams at the water for a bit, and then he leaves, and she gets out of the water, and she's fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, he doesn't want soggy human food. That'd be gross.
Gross, right? Also, when I'm hunting things, I know that if I see them and I feel like I could catch them, I just scream at them and then walk away.
Yeah, exactly, because it's no fun.
Yeah, it's just like dating. When you're at a bar, what you do is you see a woman you like, you approach her when she's not with her friends, and then you scream in her face and leave. Okay, so Claire escapes the screaming dinosaur.
Yeah.
Owen and Pilot are trying to cross the ice, and then this like weird feathery dinosaur shows up, starts to run towards them on the ice. And then there's ice cracking and there's a lot of tension. and then it jumps in the water, and then Chris Pratt falls in the water, but the dinosaur just kind of menacingly swims around him. Then he gets out of the water, and then they make it to like this weird bridge thing that has a caged elevator, and they get in the caged elevator, and the dinosaur screams at them.
Sorry.
And then they get away.
Yeah, sure. They're really respectful of these, just like, oh, you know what? Do some yelling and I'm out.
Yeah, exactly. Horror movies need to take a note from Jurassic World Dominion's book. The most scariest thing in the world is just something coming up and screaming in your face and then walking away.
Yeah.
Anyways, they use something to track Claire. They meet up with Claire. They find a weird, observation tower, I guess, that they try to hide in. And then we're reunited because somehow I know something happens, but I don't remember what it is. I think that Ian Malcolm shows up and finds Laura Dern, Sam Neill, and Child, and gets them into like a Jeep with him. But I can't remember exactly how he finds them or why he finds them, but that's what happens.
Right. He's just like, I could see that the alarms were going off over here, so I got my Jeep.
Yeah, good enough explanation. So they get in the Jeep together. I think at one point the Jeep falls down a hill, like rolls down a hill. Anyways, they end up at the same tower, and Maisie, Claire, and Owen are reunited, and it should be emotional, but it's not, because I don't care about anybody in this movie.
But it's a hooray.
It's a hooray, yeah. I forgot to mention when Pilot Lady and Owen are looking for Claire, they find the dead deer, and then a T-Rex appears, and they hide under a log, and the T-Rex is going to eat the deer, but then a different apex predator shows up, and yells at the T-Rex, and the T-Rex drops the deer and runs away, and then the other apex predator picks up the deer and eats it and runs away. That's nice. Very important for what's about to happen right now.
Right.
They're trying to get into the tower, and an apex predator shows up. But a different apex... No, does that happen at this point? Yeah, no, a different apex predator shows up and scares away the original apex predator. And then the sky starts raining fire because all the flaming locust has reached them now.
Right.
So they've got fire raining down on all the dinosaurs, apex predators everywhere, and these guys. And this is when the biothin billionaire guy decides to activate the signal in all the dinosaurs' brains so that they'll come back to his office where he is, like the compound, because he's worried about them or something. Because of the flaming locust that he released.
Right. And like they're all like microchipped, I guess, in some way.
Yeah, I think so. There's something in their brain that if they push a button, they can make them do shit.
Sure. I mean, that's been established in the last couple of movies.
Yeah. They get in the tower. They want to reactivate the Skynet so that they can fly out of there without being attacked. But there's not enough power to reactivate the Skynet. So Laura Dern and Claire has to go to the server to shut down the power manually so that the Skynet can reboot.
Cool. Yeah, I would say that's straight out of Jurassic Park 1, classic.
Yeah. While that is happening, Owen, Sam Neill, and little girl have to find Beta the raptor who escaped when little girl let him out, basically. I skipped that part, but Maisie and Beta were sent to the lab, and Beta was in a cage, but Maisie was not. And B.D. Wong explained to them that she's not a clone. Her mother just decided to have a baby without a father, and she fixed all of her bad genes that killed her from disease when she made Maisie. And if he can study Maisie and Beta, he's confident he can cure all diseases and also stop the locusts.
Right, and because wasn't Maisie her name? Wasn't she a clone of not Hammond's like dead granddaughter, and that's the point that she was a clone because of that?
Yeah, but then they retracted that because they're like, that's just mean to make her a clone. So we're gonna make it that her mother always wanted to have a kid, so she decided to make her DNA better and make a baby by herself.
Right, but then was her mom in the previous movie?
Her mom's dead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, but then also, why? Yeah, no, but why? Why does he have to study Blue and Maisie when they have cloned dinosaurs around them, and presumably the technology that Maisie was cloned from or birthed from, like somewhere in a lab?
Because the clone dinosaurs are not the same as Beta and Maisie because they were birthed.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
Because this is a stupid movie.
Yeah, no, I like seriously. I know I'm harping on this because it doesn't make sense. But
it's also, I'm probably also explaining it badly, but not that badly. I'm pretty close to what they said in the movie.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. There's some translation loss. Okay.
Okay. So, Owen, Sam Neill, and Maisie go down to the basement to find Blue.
Mm-hmm.
No, Beta. Because before they left to go find Maisie, like as they were getting in their car to leave to go talk to the guy that works at the dinosaur FBI, Blue showed up, and Owen promised Blue to bring Beta back. So he owes this dinosaur a life debt, I guess.
Sure.
They go down to the basement. They find Beta pretty quickly. Maisie gets to do the hand squat thing that works on all dinosaurs all the time. And they trank Beta, and then they make a little baby Bjorn for Beta so that Owen can carry her around for the rest of the movie.
Nice.
While that's going on, Claire and Laura Dern are in the server room, and there's a bunch of dead locusts around, and it's gross. But as they approach the big red button that will fix everything, all the locusts wake up for some reason. And they have to kill them with an axe. And then the big red button doesn't work, so they just start axing power lines in there, and eventually it works.
So they were unburnt locusts? They were just other locusts?
No, they were like burnt dead locusts that came to life again just as they were about to push the big red button, because that's how life
on fire things work.
Yeah.
Bugs that were burnt to death.
Yeah. Because they're like an alarm system.
Right.
Guess.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Maybe they were burnt. Maybe they were just sleeping locusts that they kept in there as an alarm system.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming. But then you said they were dead. But
I mean, they looked dead because they were all on the floor and splayed out, but maybe they weren't. Maybe they were sleeping. I'm not an expert on locusts, Dan.
No, but again, I'm going back to, like, sure, they're annoying, but they're not trying to eat them.
No, they're flying around.
Why this locust plot? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
They're swarming, Dan.
Like, I'm just trying to, like, like piranhas. Okay, like that makes sense. They eat flesh, and so they're dangerous if you fall in the pool with them.
But Dan, piranhas
bugs
can't fly.
What? Sorry.
Piranhas can't fly.
No, but that's what I'm saying is like a bug that eats crops. Okay.
It's very scary. They're bugs.
Yeah, I mean, sure, the bugs are creepy and weird and looking and gross, but like
they might fly around you.
Like, why not? Why weren't the locusts like? They were like, oh, they brought back some kind of weird prehistoric bug, and it's like that's dangerous, not locusts.
Well, they look prehistoric when they're the size of a cat.
Yeah, I'm not discounting the fact that they're big and that's dangerous and can hit you and etc. But like they're not like trying to maul you at the same time.
Yeah, but they swarm.
Yeah, like
sometimes they're on fire.
Yeah, but like in Jumanji when the mosquitoes come out and they're giant and then they're trying to like poke you and stuff like that. Like that's because they're trying to eat you. It's like.
I agree with you 100%. I have no excuse for.
No, I know. I know I'm stuck on this because I'm just like, they're not a threat to people. Yes, they're a threat to the crops. I get you. You gotta stop this crop plot here. But like,
it's what it is. This movie suffers from somebody had an interesting idea for a movie.
Yeah.
And then they shoehorned it into Jurassic World.
Yeah. I was going to say that's, again, on the Weekly Planet when they do the Caravan of Garbage about, I think it's The Last Night, like the Transformers one. And he's like, some guy was in the back, like, working on a King Arthur project. And then Michael Bay's like, all right, so hand in your scripts. And he's like, oh, no, I've just been working on my King Arthur fantasy project. So he's just like putting Transformers into the movie.
Yeah, that's what this movie is.
Yeah. Okay, but sorry. So they're hacking away at the power. I assume that works, and then we're on to the next thing.
That works. So they all run to where the helicopter is. Now, while this is going on, Billionaire, first Ramsey confronts Billionaire, and he's like, I am the whistleblower. And Billionaire's like, but you were my protege. He's like, not anymore, sucker.
I assumed it was Ian Malcolm.
What?
I said, I assumed it was Ian Malcolm.
Oh, yeah, no, Ian Malcolm's with them.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Billionaire guy gets on one of those underground train things, right?
Yeah.
But the power goes off because they've just hacked the power with an axe. And he's like, oh shit, I better get out of my weird little train thing. And he ends up in like a weird little science tunnel that has like computer screens on the side of it, where you're like, oh, okay, cool. This looks like a tunnel meant for humans. There's probably no dinosaurs here.
Sure.
But then a dinosaur appears.
Oh, no!
And it's the dinosaur that kills Newman in Jurassic Park, the one they made up that has the like fancy Elizabethan collar and spits.
The Dilophosaurus?
Yes. And he's like, oh shit, I better get back to my train. So he runs back to the train and leaves the door open. And then a different dinosaur, same kind of dinosaur, but another one, comes in through the window because these trains have stupid windows that are apparently not dinosaur proof, even though they're on Dinosaur Island.
Yeah.
So that one comes in, and then a few more come in through the door, and they all spit on him until he's dead. And then they eat him, I assume.
Sure.
So he's taken care of. I don't remember exactly what happens to Ramsey. He might have met up with the crew once they made it back to the headquarters, but I'm not entirely. I don't really remember, to be honest, if he's even in the movie anymore after that point.
Right. Yeah. Because like, was CEO guy before he got eaten? Was he going to like a helicopter or the same helicopter or something? Like, or he had some other escape? Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say that would add some like oh man, he's going for the thing too. We got to go a different way because he locked us out from the train.
Yeah, that would provide dramatic tension.
Right. Sorry, I forgot.
We don't do that here in Jurassic World Dominion.
Because you mentioned the helicopter that our good guy characters are going for, so I was like, okay, yeah, maybe the bad guy was going for that helicopter as well.
No, because he was leaving the headquarters where the helicopter was. He was going somewhere else.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I don't know where he was going, but he was
But it
taking
was somewhere.
a dumb little train thing there.
Right. Yeah. Wherever he was going, he was taking the train.
So they make their way there, and then they're about to get to the plane. They're so close to their weird plane helicopter hybrid thing. And then, like, T-Rex shows up. Oh, no, T-Rex, scary. But then a different apex predator shows up, and they fight. So they're able to just run around them.
Sure.
And then T-Rex gets knocked down. And you're like, oh no, T-Rex, everybody's favorite character. But then a different apex predator shows up and starts fighting with the second apex predator. Then the T-Rex wakes up, and the third apex predator and the T-Rex team up, and they kill the apex predator.
My favorite part about this fact that there are these multiple apex predators is that's not what the word apex means.
I know.
When coupled with predator.
No, because they, at one point in the movie, they make a point of being like, when you've got more than one apex predator, it won't be that way for long, because they'll kill each other.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. They kill each other.
Yeah, to make one of them to be the apex.
No, Dan, they're all apex predators. Right.
Science, I forgot.
That's one step above alpha male. Apex predator.
Yeah.
Okay, so they fly away. Hooray! And then they make it to the airbase, and Laura Dern and Sam Neill kiss, because Laura Dern's like, hey, you should come with me, unless you want to go back to your dig. And he's like, I'm not going anywhere unless it's with you. Kissy, kissy, kissy.
He's like, yeah, you see that dig? It sucks.
He's like, I've been on that dig for 30 years.
Yeah.
Although I will point out that this dinosaur skeletons that they dig up are like in perfect formation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it happened when like the asteroids and volcanoes erupted. Everything was perfect.
Yeah. I mean, maybe these are the new dinosaur skeletons. Like maybe the dinosaur just died like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It seems weird that they'd be like doing dino digs when there's just like fucking dinos everywhere, but.
Well, and like his point in Jurassic World 3 is that they're not real dinosaurs. They're genetically engineered monsters.
That's true. And he does paleontology because paleontology is science.
That's right. It's the real deal.
Yeah. Okay, so that's basically the end of their stupid storyline. Owen, Claire, and Maisie go back to their cabin. Which, like, okay. Part of the reason that they live in an isolated cabin is because they shouldn't have Maisie. Like,
sure. They kidnapped her.
But now, like, after this Biosyn adventure, there's like a lot of media attention on them and like, you know, authorities like police and shit around, but nobody takes Maisie away. But that's fine. They go back to their cabin and then they drive out to a field and they release Beta, and Blue shows up because they know where Blue hangs out, I guess. And Beta doesn't want to leave at first because he's best friends with Maisie, but she's like, go to your mother. And then he runs off with Blue. And then they kind of run off together. And everybody but Chris Pratt gets in the car, but Chris Pratt stands outside the car for a minute. And then Blue comes back and like gives him a dinosaur wink and then runs away. And then Chris Pratt smiles and dinosaurs are still everywhere. Credits roll, the end.
Awesome.
Yeah, do you have any questions that I probably won't be able to answer?
Well, I'm sure I interrupted many times throughout your explanation. I feel like the locust plot, which was heavily focused on that's not a dinosaur movie plot, right?
I know. It's like, it would be like, okay, don't make the locust giant, but make bugs that only eat certain crops. That's an interesting movie that could be kind of like a gritty drama investigation type movie where they're trying to figure out what's going on. And then they're like, oh my God, these bugs somehow lead back to this big conglomerate company owned by a wacky billionaire. Oh my God. And then they have to like figure shit out. But like not Jurassic property, right? Like that would be an interesting movie. But I don't know why they put it in there. It's really stupid.
Yeah, and I heard the initial kind of like pitches and buzzes where they're like, oh, they're bringing back the old cast, and like Sam Neill's going to be there, Lauren Dern's going to be there, and everything. And I was like, well, why? They're not really the point of this property. Like, you know, these newer movies is Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. But I was like, okay, whatever, fine. But they're brought in to do things that they're not even like, their characters aren't even established as like that's their thing, you know?
I know. I mean, like, if they wanted to bring back the old crew, they could have done something like Sam Neill and Laura Dern were like, we got to get rid of these dinosaurs because we shouldn't exist with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And it could be them like, you know, like that could be the movie. I don't know.
Yeah, they go to them for some sort of like information that a paleontologist would know.
Yeah, like how to solve a bug problem.
Sure, yeah, exactly.
I didn't really like it, if you couldn't tell.
No, the sarcasm was not enough. No, and also it's interesting because like you said, the budget was 185. That's like manageable. Like it's under $200 million, which I'm actually kind of surprised at for this movie, considering like a lot of CG dinosaurs. I assume you got to pay all your actors, of course, as well. Like,
oh my God, Dan, the dinosaurs looked terrible.
Oh, that's where they saved money on the dinosaurs then.
Well, so there was a mix of CG and what I assume is like animatronic dinosaurs.
Right.
But they didn't marry those two styles together. Like, honestly, the original Jurassic Park had better looking dinosaurs than this movie.
No, that's crazy considering, like, you know,
considering it's like 30 years old.
Well, and like I think there's like 8 minutes of CG dinosaurs in that movie.
So the CG ones look okay. Like the big ones walking around look fine. It's the small animatronic ones close up. They look like dinosaurs from the TV show Dinosaurs. Like they look so stupid. They're stupid rubbery things that can only do like 2 motions.
Right.
And it looks like shit.
Yeah, I would say like a lot of times you can always kind of tell, you know, like you said, if it's an animatronic, it's like moving in a certain way. And then when it has to do some kind of like action related thing, that it's like obviously CG because it's like jumping and doing something crazy. It's just so like different that it just throws it off, right?
You could like hear the gears grinding when they move their head. It was like, it looked terrible. It looked like a stupid Disneyland ride that you would go through on a boat.
Right. From the 50s.
From the 50s.
Yeah, no, it's kind of too bad because like, you know, I've seen all of the Jurassic Park movies except for the last 2, and like obviously like the first one was an amazing movie, and you know 2 and 3 are all right.
There should have only been Jurassic Park and nothing else.
Sure, you know, I mean obviously money.
Yeah, so, I know.
But yeah, and I guess maybe they probably like they've lost that kind of like Crichton kind of like maybe some of his input into them, because I assume these are written, you know, by Hollywood screenwriters of some sort, right?
They're probably written by 1,000 monkeys with typewriters.
Yeah, and not saying because obviously Crichton has written stuff for Hollywood, but I just mean like he kind of had that cynicism with the corporations making dinosaurs, I guess.
I don't know. It's like they picked the weirdest plot for this. Like it could have just been 2 hours of people interacting with dinosaurs and I would have been happier.
Yeah, well, and that's like I said, why I feel like the premise was flawed, especially if you're following from Jurassic World or like Fallen Kingdom, where like you said, they blew up the island, where it's like, okay, if you don't blow up that island, then it could kind of make sense how dinosaurs have started to kind of like get into the world. But if blowing up the island was like the point of that movie, sans the mansion part, because that sounds pretty terrible. But you know what I mean? It's like it just doesn't follow because
The
that's
majority of Fallen Kingdom takes place in the mansion. It
yeah,
doesn't
no,
take place on the island. The
yeah.
island exists for like 15 minutes in the last one.
Right. Or and like you said, like what's the time gap between like you're saying in the, now this YouTube thing, like what do they say the time gap is?
I think it's 4 years. Like I think it's the same like real time as
That's
how
our
much time
time,
has
yeah.
passed between movies.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, yeah, if you said it enough in the future and then in that kind of thing, that explanation, you could be like, oh, the technology got out and more people have made more dinosaurs and that's done some weird stuff.
No, it's just
Okay,
the
maybe.
dinosaurs got free
Yeah.
and like I don't know. I was trying to
But
make
like
sense of it.
say
I'm like, how did the dinosaurs get all over the world? And I was like, did
yeah.
like some billionaires circle back and like kidnap them? But then it's like they're not supposed to be able to breed. So how is there so many of them everywhere?
Plus, like you said, like who's making apex predator dinosaurs? If like there was like those apex predators weren't in the mansions in the previous movie, right? Like
Yeah, no, and additionally, like they're two dinosaurs, like two of the apex predators. One was a T-Rex, and the other two we had not, as far as I remember, we had not seen them in any other Jurassic movies. So I guess maybe BD Wong is just making secret apex predators to
yeah,
bat deer around.
sure, yeah, like exactly. Like I said, it just to me the premise was flawed. Where if you were gonna do okay, dinosaurs escaped, like just make that the movie then. Make oh, Chris Pratt's going around with Bryce Dallas Howard, and then they have to consult with other people, and maybe Sam Neill accidentally encounters one in like Arizona where he's doing digs, and they're trying to collect the dinosaurs again, or something, right? Like,
Yeah, actually, they could do a Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them situation where
yeah,
they're just trying to round up all the dinosaurs. That would have been more interesting.
yeah, and then some of them are, more clever so they can hide better or they get into weirder spots. And then, yeah, you got to go to like other places in America or wherever. And you're like, oh, some of them, like,
Hmm.
yeah, they were spotted going to South America. And they're like, man, that's weird. We should get down there before the dinosaurs do something. And then they encounter Dilophosaurus in a cave. And they're like, oh my God, there's too many of them.
Yeah, but that's not what happened. What happened was giant locusts.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair
And they're
enough.
eating our food.
No, we'll all have to go vegan.
No.
I don't know. It just seems like a lost opportunity. I'm sure, like you said, it's done pretty well in the box office so far, but it doesn't sound like it would have that same kind of staying power, or even that same kind of like because Jurassic World, the first one, made like $1 billion on like a pretty lower budget because again, it had more of an adventure feel, and it was a soft reboot of the franchise, and you can't do that again, of course, where it's just like, oh no, people are on the island with the park, right?
Yeah.
I get that, but it's also like at this point, it was just seemed unexciting to me.
Yeah, I regret spending money on this movie.
But you did it for the show because I was like, Devin, you're going to tell me about this movie, right? Because I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, always for the show.
Yeah.
I do regret spending money on it. I also regret that there's those children in the movie theater
Yeah, that's fair.
ruining my experience of this fantastic film. It's funny because like watching this right after watching Men, like that was the last movie that I saw. I'm like, I have so many questions about both these movies,
Yeah, but for different reasons.
but for very different reasons.
Yeah. This one's, it sounds more like, why did you do this?
Yeah, why? Why?
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
Yeah.
How much money did they pay you?
Exactly.
Is it worth the price of your soul and your integrity?
Hey, everyone's got a mortgage.
That's true. Who am I to talk about souls or integrity? I'd sell myself out for like $500. Yeah, any other questions about this fantastic movie?
No, I think we've had a good time discussing it and ripping on it a little here.
I don't recommend it to anybody. In fact, I would actively recommend people stop seeing these movies because they should stop making them.
Yeah. Well, I feel this one, I mean, it's kind of like a wrap up to a trilogy. And if they do another Jurassic film in the future, I assume it'll be another soft reboot of some sort.
Yeah, we've done Jurassic Park, and then we just went from park to world. So I guess it would have to be like Jurassic Universe would be the next logical step. And it would be dinosaurs in space, and we're bringing everybody back, and also the Ninja Turtles will be there. What else do you guys like? Stranger Things? We'll get the Stranger Things kids in space.
No, yeah, I was gonna say it could be the dinosaurs from Star Trek Voyager, because they left and then they met them in the Delta Quadrant. They come back, so they're like futuristic, far space technology dinosaurs.
Ooh, and they wear dresses, robes.
Yeah.
And they're voiced by The Rock for some reason.
Well, one of them is definitely.
Yeah. No, all of them. This movie makes me sad to even like think about it, It's just, you remember when we were doing the Han Solo movie review and I was like, this movie feels like it's like the most soulless movie I've ever seen. Yeah. I would like to retract that and give that title to Jurassic World Dominion. I don't think anybody cared about anything this entire movie.
Yeah, it's weird because I think about that movie every so often where I'm like, man, they made that Solo movie and I'm like, it's just too bad. Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. And then there was just so much like wasted opportunity with it. I don't know. It's an
I really like the actor in it too, but
yeah, I like all the cast was really good, and then but it was just the story wasn't good, but like everything around the story was pretty good.
Yeah, this movie had no redeeming qualities for Jurassic World.
Yeah, that's it.
Dominion. They didn't even have a dinosaur auction in it.
Oh, no.
Right?
Well, and half the movie didn't even involve dinosaurs.
That's true. I just, I want to know what the market value of a dinosaur is. 4 years ago, it was $8 million, but, inflation has gone up.
Yeah. Well, and I was say, yeah, like obviously, well, there seems to be more of them, so the pricing probably gone down.
That's true. They are everywhere, so maybe they're more like the price of a horse. Like you can buy a dinosaur for $4,000.
Or you can just go out and hunt your own. Apparently, they're just in the woods.
That's true. All you need is a horse to hunt a dinosaur.
Yeah, you just trank them and capture them. Done.
How much do horses cost? Are they $4,000? Maybe they're less than that. I don't know the market value of a horse.
The only time I ever see anything about a market value of a horse is like when those, the champion thoroughbred gets auctioned off or whatever, and it's like, $500,000 or something.
Right. Yeah. I think you can adopt lame horses on the SPCA. Oh, and I think that they have so many that they drastically reduce the price. It's like $50 to adopt a horse from the SPCA.
Nice.
Yeah. So I wonder if they'd have an SPCA for dinosaurs.
well, like you said, there was the FBI for dinosaurs, and Claire and them are dinosaur activists in some way, so probably.
Dinosaur PETA.
Yeah, basically.
This movie is dumb. Okay, I'm going to wrap up because I don't want to think about it anymore.
Sure.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode of me having a breakdown, please send it to all your friends and download it a million times. And also go to our website, tomeofuselessness.com. And also check out our Instagram, Tome of Uselessness. And also email us with suggestions for future episodes, tomeofuselessness@gmail.com. And that's it. Goodbye.
Stay safe and thanks for listening.